It's DEW Time with Pastor Steph.
Damn, I can't see anything. I'm mute. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this DEW Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Where were you last week? Last week we started off shaking the Monday morning blues, and I'm gonna start off a little differently this morning. Our switch tip: stop acting desperate. Oh my goodness! You know, we went through some love dilemmas, some relationship dilemmas, I like to call it. And I don't know. Some of those situations were like people were acting on the desperate side. And the ironic part about it was that ended up being our switch tip. We had a scenario where all of these were exes. By the time these people wrote in for some advice, they had already dumped the people. But before they dumped them, some of them were kind of acting desperate. Now, you had a couple of friends that went to a barbecue, and there was a couple that also attended the barbecue, and they were acting kind of funny with the food. Now, what kind of barbecue do you go to where they're acting funny about the food? Yeah, well, they told everybody in advance they did not have enough food for everybody. And when they actually started serving the food, when the main people ate, they rang out leftovers in the house, and the female was not having it. So I'm not eating no leftovers, when in fact there really were no leftovers, because it was just what the people had not taken from when they had served themselves. Well, the boyfriend acted kind of desperate, already knowing that they had said they were going to eat out anyway, and he went, got some food, and she didn't, and he ended up breaking up with her because he said she made him feel kind of funny. Now, I'm making you feel kind of funny because you desperate? No. So he dumped her, but you know what? He actually did her a favor, because in actuality, he was probably waiting for something. If you use something like that to break up with your woman or your man, you were probably waiting for some excuse anyway, right? Right. Well, she didn't act very desperate, and oh well. Well, stop acting desperate. How are you behaving desperately? I don't know. You know, there's so many ways to act desperate. And, you know, we're going to go straight to the word of God. Be anxious for nothing. But by prayer and supplication, make your requests known to God. You know, come on, lean not to your own understanding. If there is something that you really want, or you really don't want, or if you find yourself kind of acting on a desperate side, make sure you just go to the Lord. Make sure you just go to the Lord. You know, this barbecue thing is minor in the grand scheme of things. But listen, acting desperate is acting desperate no matter how you look at this thing. You know, this was such a practical switch tip, because there's so many ways. You know, I love God because he gives such a broad understanding of things. You know, this the once I was blind, but now I see, it's just nothing in comparison to when God gives you understanding, when God gives you sight. Yes, when he gives you foresight, when he just lets you in on all the goods. Yeah, he does not keep any secrets from his people. There are no mysteries from his people. But you have got to position yourself and tap into what God ultimately wants and has for his people, because a lot, the stuff that God fills me in on keeps me from acting desperate. It keeps me from doing some things that other people would do. And I'm like, yo, what is going on with you? But sometimes you just got to lay back in the cut and just watch. Just lay back in the cut and watch and see what everybody's doing. Make sure you get that understanding. Make sure you see the things that God wants you to see, because God's people are not desperate. No. God's people understand that he's got for them what he's got for them. We have always talked about the ladies going through the man's pocket or through his phone or through his what do you call that? The social media. Sometimes the man puts a tracking on the woman's phone and all, or the tracker on the woman's phone. That's desperate. That's desperation. Whether you realize it or not, that's desperation. And you don't want to be caught out there doing that. Whatever God wants you to know, he gonna fill you in. I promise you. Because there are things that you just don't want to know, that God's gonna give you some insight on. You be like, come on, God, you had to show me that. Yeah, that's the way it goes down. God does not leave you in the dark about anything he wants you to see. So you're going to have to get this thing together in more ways than one, so that there's no desperation in you. If I call myself a child of God, I am so not acting desperate. I am so not desperate. So let's make sure we're doing what God wants us to do. So that's what I'm going to talk about from last week. Okay? Okay. Well, today we are shaking the Monday morning blues all over again. It is April 14th. Oh my, we halfway through the month already, and we just got started. Well, I am so looking forward to a wonderful week. We had a wonderful week just gone by. We celebrated the Lord's Supper, and oh, it was something good. Amen. So I'm praying that all of you, wait a minute, we just may have Brother Al today because school is out. Yeah. So some of you are on vacation. It's New York City schools, spring break time. So we may have a couple of extra people on, and maybe we will, maybe we won't. But here, I'm going to give you an opportunity for us to get started. So go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, everybody, anybody, that It's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
The 1800s relied on burning coal or wood to heat their homes. This method of heating sucked because the heat usually was hottest right in front of the fireplace, which left the rest of the room cold. On December 23, 1919, Alice H. Parker patented the first furnace powered by natural gas that was for homes and offices. Her invention would suck in the cold air and exchange it with hot air. It would then distribute that hot air to the different parts of the home. Her invention was the first to have individually controlled air ducts that would distribute heat throughout the home. Parker played an important role in the development of the central heating systems that keep us warm today.
good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. And we are shaking the Monday morning blues. Yes. I pray that you had a wonderful weekend, a restful one. And we are back at it with It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. So if you're in the room, make sure you let me know. Other than that, I can't say good morning to you. We got our first check-in from our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We got a check-in from Serge. Hey, Serge. How you doing, my brother? What's up, Terrence? Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope Mom is doing well. And we got a check-in from our girl, Vivian. Hey, Vivian. Good morning. Thank you so much for checking in and joining us this morning. So if you're in the room, make sure you say good morning. Like I said, other than that, I don't get the notifications that everybody else gets. You know, they'll say that so-and-so is watching with you or whatever. I don't know. But I want to say good morning to you. I don't want to miss that opportunity. We got a good morning from our girl, Tamika. Hey there. Good morning. And I'll look forward to talking to you in a little while. All right. Well, we got our switch tip about our health. Yes. How are we going to handle our health this morning? Well, I got two different switch tips, and I'm going to give you the first one. Now, they give us a list of foods to eat if we have a migraine or a headache. Yes. And, you know, they say don't take the painkillers first. Try eating these foods. But I got to tell you, these things better work fast because I don't get many headaches. But when I get a headache, man, I just need that thing to be gone. So the first thing they say is take ginger. Yeah, they say it's a spicy ally against pain. And they say ginger is great for nausea, sore throats. But a lot of people don't realize that it's also good for your headache. Yes. They say it's in the gingerol that comes from ginger, and it's a powerful anti-inflammatory property. And they say when the inflammation in the brain or your blood vessels, wow, in your head. Whoa, I never thought about it like that. Did you? No. They say ginger may help calm things down. They say also if you have migraines, when you feel the onset of a migraine, they say go get that ginger. You won't have to need those medications. They say especially if you grab it within the first 2 hours of your migraine. Wow. Oh my goodness. Somebody gonna have to come and read these things for me because I can't see a thing. Woo! Leafy greens is the next thing. They say that leafy greens is power-packed with magnesium and B vitamins. They say when it comes to the nutrients that protect the brain and the nervous system, magnesium tops the list. All right. So get some spinach, some kale, some Swiss chard, because those are loaded with essential minerals, vitamin B, and it will help regulate energy and stress levels. Wow. All righty. They say the leafy greens also relax the blood vessels and improve nerve functions. Man, if it weren't for these health tips, I wouldn't know half this stuff here. I need to find something that's going to clear up my vision. Oh my God, I can't see anything. Woo! Somebody send me their eyes. I need it. Pastor Steph needs it. Salmon. They say rich in omega-3s for a calmer brain. Wow. They say not just good for the heart. Salmon is also good for the head. They say the key lies in high content of omega-3 fatty acids. And they say these healthy fats are known to fight inflammation. And a study, they say, found people who ate diets rich in omega-3s experienced up to 40% lower headache days. Wow. So they say go get that grilled, baked salmon and get to eating, and you'll have less headaches. Wow. Nuts and seeds. If you're trying to get rid of that headache or the migraine, go for those nuts and seeds. They say it's magnesium on the go. Wow. Almonds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, and cashews are excellent for headache fighting minerals. Yo, are y'all writing this stuff down? Because I'm telling you, I didn't know any of this. I did not know any of this. And they're trying to keep us from running to get the painkillers. They say get these foods in your system and you won't need the painkillers. All righty. Cherries, they say, are good for anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. All right. They say these compounds may reduce levels of nitric oxide in the blood, which is sometimes elevated during migraines. So if you have a headache or feel a migraine coming on, they say get that ginger, those leafy greens, salmon, nuts and seeds, and cherries. Wow. All righty. I got another switch tip for your health. I keep talking about switch tip. Shanti's better be getting a switch tip together for us. They say you've got some unexplained symptoms of cancer that you should never ignore. All right. Again, some unexplained symptoms of cancer they say you should never ignore. Thank you so much from our, what do you call it? That's what it Vivian said. Our loyal viewers. Thank you so much for sending this in. Unexplained weight loss. They say cancer cells divide and grow at an accelerated pace, which demands substantial energy. And they say as those cells consume more energy, your body may start burning calories faster than usual and will render unexplained weight loss. So that unexplained weight loss, make sure you check it out. Okay. We're talking about some unexplained cancer symptoms. So please make sure you write this stuff down because we don't need nothing sneaking up on us. Okay. Night sweats. They say night sweats could indicate cancer, as certain cancers can trigger the release of specific proteins, and that will cause systemic inflammation and disrupt the body's temperature regulation, leading to excessive sweating at night. So you've got the unexplained weight loss and the night sweats could indicate some type of cancer. They say a new lump or bump can indicate a possible sign of cancer. They say abnormal cell growth, where cells are dividing uncontrollably, could cause some mass. Okay. And that could be either benign, which is non-cancerous, or malignant, which is cancerous. Okay. So they say malignant tumors have the potential to invade surrounding tissues and spread to other parts of the body. All right. And that's definitely a characteristic of cancer, the spreading. All righty. Skin changes. We're talking about those unexplained or unexpected possibilities of cancer. Okay. Skin changes is on this list. And they say that a mole that's changing, or a sore or an ulcer that won't heal, that could possibly indicate cancerous cells. Because they disrupt normal skin cell growth and repair processes. They say, for instance, the uncontrolled growth of abnormal cells in skin cancers, such as melanoma, can lead to visible changes like new moles, sores that don't heal, unusual pigmentation, or other alterations in, the skin. All righty. Blood in the urine or the stool. Now, we always hear about this one. Okay. So I'm praying you're not ignoring that one. All righty. They say the presence of blood or urine in the stool, in the urine or stool, could be a sign of cancer. That could suggest tumors in the urinary tract, the bladder, the colon, or the rectum, because that's where the bleeding is taking place. Okay. They say these tumors can grow and disrupt normal tissues or blood vessels. Okay. That's what causes the bleeding. So please do not ignore that one. Vaginal bleeding, ladies. They say vaginal bleeding between periods, after sex, or after menopause could be a sign of cancer. So make sure you mention it to your doctor. They say vaginal bleeding outside of normal cycles, postmenopausal bleeding, may act as a warning sign of a possible cancer, signaling abnormalities in the cervix, the uterus, or the endometrium. Okay, so please do not ignore that if that's what's going on. Listen, nothing is not worth mentioning. Just mention it. Worst case scenario, it's something else. Okay, testicular changes. They say testicular changes should ring alarm bells, and those new alterations, such as swelling, lumps, or a hardened feel, should be alarming to you, because that can manifest into something more. Okay, or an indication of something more. New or persistent cough. Moreover, a persistent or fresh cough might be symptomatic of lung cancer, as tumorous growths in the lungs or airways could provoke irritation or blockages that result in a cough. All righty. Change in your bowel movements. Yo, are y'all writing this stuff down? This is important. Yeah. They say alterations in bowel movements that could be potential indicators of cancer, possibly colorectal type of cancers. They say tumors within the colon or the rectum can create physical barriers or cause irritation that disrupts digestive processes and how waste is managed within the intestinal system. All right, so we're going to go over that list again. They say some unexplained symptoms of cancer you should never ignore. And that's unexplained weight loss, night sweats, a new lump or bump, skin changes, blood in the urine or stool, vaginal bleeding, testicular changes, new or persistent cough, change in bowel movements. Now, listen, one of these things may not be indicators of cancer, but definitely 2, 3, definitely get these things checked out. And again, it is nothing that is just not worth mentioning. because sometimes, you just be rambling. And can I tell you how many things I found out just from rambling while I was at the doctor or the eye doctor? And they go, wait a minute, is that what's going on? I'm like, yeah. And they go, why you didn't say so? I'm like, I'm saying so now. So you want to make sure that you open up your mouth and say something, okay? Let's see who's checked in. Hey, Miss Charlene. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. We got a check-in of from our girl Athena, our health coach, and she says, "Be careful with the cashews because they are very high in saturated fat." Okay, so that was on our first list of foods to eat if you have like migraines or headaches. So she said, just be careful of those cashews. Okay. Good morning. Oh, we didn't say good morning to the ladies in the background who help to keep everything together and give us our Facebook Live and our YouTube Live. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Hey, Shantice. And to our girl Anika. Hey, Anika. And we're hoping you're feeling better. All righty. Okay. So what are we talking about in our news today? The news was really, I wasn't too thrilled with the news today. So let's see if we can make something out of it into something. Listen, y'all keep this chat room live and we can always have a lot of fun with this news. It was really kind of boring. So let me see what I got here. Oh, you might find this one kind of interesting. You may have heard of this already. So they've got this teen who was charged in Wisconsin for killing his parents. Yes, 17-year-old kid. And he is Nikita Kasep. Yes, of Waukesha, Wisconsin. He was charged with killing his mother, 35-year-old Tatiana Kasep, and his stepfather, 51-year-old Donald Mayer, and accused of living with those corpses for 2 weeks. Yeah, they say they ended up going through the home and finding the parents in the home. Now, here's the interesting part. They say he killed his parents to obtain financial means of autonomy, meaning he wanted to live by himself, pretty much. Yeah, because he needed their money. So somehow or another, he ended up getting stopped while he was driving the stepfather's car. And they found inside the car a .357 Magnum. So they initially just charged him with having the .357 Magnum, having the stepfather's driver's license, and some spent, they call it shell casings in the car. So now, why you would put the shell cases in the car, dummy? Leave them where you throw them in the garbage. Do something. And they were just going to charge him with those things and operating a motor vehicle without the owner's consent. Now, I don't know how they got to the part of the owner not consenting, but they ended up going back to the house and finding the two bodies. They found the mother in the hallway covered with blankets and towels, while the stepfather was found on the first floor office covered in a pile of clothing. So he's ultimately being charged with the operating of the motor vehicle without the owner's consent, theft of movable property, and then 2 counts of first-degree homicide, 2 counts of hiding a corpse, theft of property over $10,000, and 2 counts of misappropriating ID to obtain money. Man, here's the kicker. They also found some paperwork where he was planning to kill President Trump. Yes. Listen, with all of this stuff Trump got going on, he is definitely people trying to kill him. Now you got the 17-year-old trying to kill you as well. And wasn't it like a kid they claimed was trying to kill him before? Yeah, well, this one here had some type of paperwork that showed he was the next plan. He started off with the parents, and the next plan was to kill President Trump. He got to watch his back for everybody, kids and adults. What kind of life is that? Goodness gracious. Wow. Yeah, so what else are we talking about? Oh, it's like boring stuff here. But again, we got this other news story where there was a football player and who died during like this high pressured, what do you call it, exercise regimen? Yeah, high school football. And it's really kind of sounding an alarm to them because remember, they just got finished with the fraternity stuff. So they're saying that out there at Bucknell University, and I'm trying to see where that is. Oh, it's in Florida. Is it in Florida? Well, he's 18 years old. 18 years old, yeah. Florida. Calvin Dickey Jr. He collapsed during the team's first football practice, and he suffers from sickle cell related issues. Now, here's the thing. They've got a rule that says that when each of these kids are planning to play football, that they have to be checked for sickle cell because there's something that happens during their very first day of practice. Yeah, they say if an athlete has sickle cell trait, they are not to be worked out on their first day of practice. They are not to do sprints. They are not to do up downs, and they are to be eased into their practice regime. Other than that, they can get some illness that comes from having the sickle cell trait. Well, it was on record that he had sickle cell and they overworked him. And they're trying to now say that a lot of these kids during these seasons of practices and things like that, they are overworked. So now they are paralleling it to the hazing and all of this kind of stuff because it doesn't look like it because they're under like a coach's guideline and regimen, and it's not abusive. But in actuality, they're now questioning, is it abusive? Because if you overwork these kids, are the ones with the sickle cell issues the only ones that you're paying attention to? Because this is not the first time that a child has been in some type of sporting on some sporting team and during practice have had heart attacks and all kinds of things. So now the parents are suing because they're saying, listen, if you knew this sickle cell issue existed with this child, why did you not pay attention to the warning that you cannot overwork them? But here's the interesting part. It's only on the very first practice. It's not subsequent practices, but it's Definitely for the first, they say for the first day of practice. Now, I don't know if, they are, once their body is worked up into that, then they can kind of coast, if you will. But definitely that first practice will build whatever it is up in them, so they cannot exceed a certain level of practice. So the parents are like, he's not here anymore. And their parents are like, nah, you already knew. So now there's like some investigating going forward on how are these practices really handled. Should they only be concerned about the children, boys, who have the sickle cell trait or have sickle cell, period? So this is touchy, because again, this one here, it says if the athlete has sickle cell trait. So you ain't even got to have the sickle cell disease 100%, just a trait. And you cannot be worked out on your first day of practice. So that was like really interesting to me, because we're trying to figure out why we can't get past certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do something for the first time and your body, I tell people all the time, know your body, figure out your body, understand your body. There's nothing worse, in my opinion, than going to a doctor when they're asking you, well, when did this start? And how did you feel? And you're complaining about something, and then you sitting there to I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Who else will know but you? Because you just don't know. I'm telling you, when I saw this here, I was like, wow, just the trait can take you there. This is important. This is important to know. Make sure you get your children checked out. And now they're coming up with more rules when it comes to these kids playing these sporting events and stuff. Yeah, you want to make sure that you're taking care of your health, your children's health, and the whole 9 yards. All right. So please, please, please. Let's see what else we are talking about this morning. Let's see. Let's see if this is worth talking about. They caught it, y'all. Some New Jersey woman. She is behind bars now, and she was trying to hire a hitman, and she went on Tinder. Yeah, that's the dating app. But my thing is, okay, to learn from the TV shows, from the movies, from the news of other people who did this and they didn't get away with it. I never understand this. Whenever I see stuff like this, I always scratch my head. I'm like, yo, dumb. So she goes on Tinder and she meets this person, this guy, and she tells him that she wants to kill her 50-something-year-old ex-boyfriend and his 19-year-old daughter. Now, the ex-boyfriend is a Philly police officer. Just leave. Just go about your business. Instead of you leaving, now you going to jail. So you leaving, all right. They don't say what exactly happened that made her so angry that she wanted to kill the two of them. But yeah, she talked to this guy and agreed to pay him $12,000 for this murder for hire. He ends up being an informant. And she pays him, they meet up, she pays him $500 cash to do this. So now you're out of $500 and your freedom. Well, why? They don't say how bad it was at all. They don't say how bad it was that, she had it and they got her with some bottle, some medicine bottle with the label off of it. And for those of you who don't know, do not get caught with a medicine bottle with no label on it. That's always going to be a big no-no, because there you're trying to camouflage what was supposed to be in the bottle. And yeah, so don't put pills in the bottle with no label on it. You do better just leaving the label on it, because once they find you with the medicine bottle with no label, they're automatically flagging it as some controlled substance. And sure enough, they did. And it was a controlled substance that people use for anxiety and panic disorders. So that is another charge that she has. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's the least of her worries. Yeah, that's the least of her worries. Whether she's got some, pills that she's not supposed to have, because they got her on one count of third-degree possession, in addition to one count of first-degree conspiracy to commit murder and first-degree attempted murder. So the pills, they got her, but they ain't, that ain't the big deal here. But why are we doing this? What's wrong with just leaving? I don't get it. Just go ahead about your business and call it a day. You ain't got nothing to worry about after that. He'll be about his business with his daughter. You'll be about your business with your daughter. Okay? Let me see if I can slide one more up in here. Oh, yo. Talk about why you don't just leave. What's up with the 28-year-old, what was it, Marine? Yeah, the Marine. So they ain't got no explanation. They don't have no note. They ain't got no reason other than jealousy. And the father told that part. So you've got this 28-year-old Marine who was dating this 19-year-old girl here in New York. And she ended up getting a new boyfriend who was 17 years old. And 17-year-old boyfriend went to see the 19-year-old girlfriend, and the 28-year-old killed the 17-year-old boyfriend and himself. So what they call that, murder-suicide. And she was right there. The young lady was right there. And even the father said, he did this for a girl. He said, there are so many other girls. That's what the father said. Yes, of the Marine. Why not just go? So now you got, he's young. He lost his life. The 17-year-old kid, he lost his life. And the 19-year-old, she will never be the same again. Because this all happened right in front of her. And just jealousy. The father said it. The father said he was complaining about the fact that this girl had found a new boyfriend. And oh my good Lord, where's my due time crew? We got to get to chatting this morning about this stuff here. Who's up first? My girl Tamika?
Monday morning. Good morning. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. I am off today because the school is out, and I can't function with all kinds of foolishness. I am off. Taking the majority of the week off because it'll be chaotic. I can't function.
I had a feeling Brother Al would be on today. I was like, wait, school is out. Brother Al will be joining us. Hey, Brother Al.
Chop of the money. Chop of the money. Chop of the money.
Oh my goodness. So I got the dynamic duo in the room with me. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Wait. Okay. Terrence is talking about one of the stories that we're going to start with. The teen who killed both his parents and had Trump on the chopping board as well. Talk about a list. Oh my goodness gracious. So you kill both your parents. They say for some financial autonomy, which pretty much means he want to live on his own. He just ain't got his own money. So he kills the parents to get their money. And now when they look and they find this some list or something, Trump is on the list. Now, after he killed Trump, he can't get no money, but at least he'll have some money before he kills Trump. What do you think about that, Tamika?
Well, here's the thing that gets me. Okay, so obviously you didn't do your research, because when they found out you killed your mom and daddy, that money that you were fighting for, that you were killing for, you don't get. That's
right.
number one. And then
Right.
the thing is, okay, you got a list. Kill mama, done. Kill daddy, done. Where do you go now? You go kill Trump? Like, you don't realize the Secret Service, he's already been shot at. We saw that on national TV, supposedly, if that's what that was, because we still, I still got some questions about that thing. They clipped this part of your ear and you okay. And you still functioning. So, but I just don't understand, family is definitely not what it used to be. We never thought about, you might even envision I'm gonna hit my mama, but when it came to doing it, you'd be like
There's second thoughts. That's right.
You raised up to hit mama, you dead. And nowadays, this is the thing. You kill mother, father, you cover them up because you obviously have some shame and some grief to what you did because you covered them up. You could have just left them, the way that they were, brazen and open to the air. So you covered them up, and then so you're not even done. There was obviously no remorse. Right. Whichever parent you killed first, you didn't see any blood or gore. None of that repulsed you. So you decided to do it again. That takes a lot. I really honestly go far beyond mental illness in this instance. That's definitely something that's spiritual. Right. That, somebody should have caught that child later on. Big mamas and them, they used to look at you and be like, come on.
Something wrong with them.
Yeah. And they would pray that thing. I mean, you sitting there for hours and she's still looking. But they don't do things like that anymore. And unfortunately, we have done our generations a disservice because they don't have access to that. And in result, they're killing us.
Right. That's right. Brother Al. He killed his parents. Now he gonna kill Trump.
I'm trying to figure what side of the fence he on.
You didn't see the picture?
I didn't see the picture. I missed the picture.
He's on the other side of the fence.
That's what I figured. Because if he's on our side of the parent, the parent in the kitchen cooking with a thing on her. Just you've been acting a little strange. Let me prepare myself. But again, when you look at it, that's strictly the devil. That's why we gotta pray over our kids, because for you even to think to want to kill your parents and then actually go through with it, that's that spiritual warfare right there to the fullest. And again, doing things and not thinking you're gonna kill and get this money. Now you can't get the money, they gone. Now you gonna have a serious roommate now. Big Bubba gonna be your room. You ain't getting a room. That's over. It's over. Now Big Bubba your roommate forever.
Yep. That's sad. So sad. Terrence says, wow, I was saying he needs life until they mentioned Trump. Good. He should be killing Mama and Papa. He shouldn't be killing Trump. He shouldn't be killing nobody. Now I know that we want him to do something, but not kill. Oh my goodness! Thank you for joining me, Bynums. And where's Pastor KL at? We could talk about this this thing, and then we'll go back to some of our other stories. Good morning, Pastor KL.
What it do, crew?
KL on the
Good
move.
morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I'm well. Thank you. I'm well. So the kid kills the parents with the intent of killing Trump as well. Is this a plan?
Now, I think this is crazy. I mean, back in my adolescence and my juvenile days, I kind of lost all hope in the Bible because, they say death and life lies in the power of the tongue. And I said a few times, I hate my parents and I wish they were dead. And when I said I wish they were dead, I looked around to see if they'd be dead. I had no power. He said to give me the desires of my heart. They were still alive. So I don't. It's only the light-skinned folks that would actually go through it. You can't kill a black parent. You can't. And if you get one, you ain't gonna get the other. You just can't kill a black parent. So I'm just trying to figure out how Becky and Johnny was waiting for their turn. I don't understand.
You know what? Leave it up to y'all, the Due Time crew, to be talking like this. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Here's another story that what in the world? We talk about why not just leave? Why not just leave? So you got one story where I think she's 26 years old. She wants this murder for hire. So she goes on Tinder and she hires an informant for $12,000 to shoot her Philly cop ex-boyfriend and his 19-year-old daughter. And she gets caught after paying $500 for a deposit, I think. Well, I would say rather. And then you've got the other 28-year-old Marine who is upset at the fact that his girlfriend, 19 years old, wants the 17-year-old boyfriend. And instead of him just leaving, he ends up shooting the 17-year-old new boyfriend and kills himself. So on a Relationship Monday, we ask, why not just leave? Tamika, why not just leave? You got two people, one going to jail for life, another one, his life is over because you just couldn't leave. I don't get it.
They've been listening to that song too long. And I am telling you, I'm not going. I just, I don't get it. Back in the days, we used to always say, whatever it is that you do, whatever issues we have, please don't kill me. And unfortunately, here we are. We're talking about that side of the fence, and with us, we just part and go our separate ways. When we go on the lighter shade, to resolve the issue, we killing you, your bloodline. If we got some neighbors that are around the corner that hear or see, I just don't get it. How many more times can you just, here's the thing, you're going to kill him and his daughter. What does the daughter have that much to go?
Right,
I mean, because my thing is, it causing enough pain when you take the father of somebody's child, you're going to go for even more than that. You kill him and the daughter. I don't understand why it has to go to that degree. Just part and go your separate ways. You're going to see each other from time to time, but, time will heal that. You that angry that you're going to take everybody out.
Mm-hmm. I don't get it either. Brother Al, what's going on? Why can't we just leave?
Well, it ain't we, it's the other side of the fence. We don't do those things. I told you we prepared. We don't do them things. But that's insane. And so he kills the girlfriend's new boyfriend. He's 28, she's 19, and let's be real. That the girl done put it on him. He don't know what to do with himself. He done going crazy. He said what it is. I'm quite sure Pastor KL agrees with me. Little young,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what?
put him on him, and he done gone crazy, don't know what to do with himself. and now you done killed your boyfriend and you done killed yourself, so you know you going straight fast forward to hell. Is that gonna be bad, real bad, you know? And the girl gonna be ruined for the rest of her life. She ain't gonna never be the same no more.
Wow. You know, it's really, really sad. Pastor K, I see something from Terrence. Lord have mercy. And I hope he ain't agreeing with y'all. Pastor K, what say you?
Yeah, it's just crazy for me. I mean, first of all, you know, we don't do stuff like that. We may bleach your clothes, we may burn your clothes. You know, if you're a man, you're gonna take all the left shoes. You know what I mean? But we're not gonna kill nobody. You know, on stuff like that. And then I kill the other guy. I don't kill her, and I kill me. So now I'm dead. The other guy dead, and you gonna find another trick and live happily ever after. That makes no sense. That makes no sense to me.
But why is it that he finds another trick? Here's my theory, and I was waiting for one of you three to say it. She's 19. She's doing what she's supposed to do. What she's supposed to do. She's dating. Now you want to hold her. Now you call to say she's gonna find another trick. But this is what she's supposed to be doing. I'm not saying sleeping with everybody, but you're supposed to be dating and seeing people and exploring. Again,
maybe in his mind they were together. They were in a relationship.
I'm sure.
Right.
Wait, what happened?
I said she wasn't married to him.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Wait a minute. Let me understand that. Let me understand Tamika's point now. Let me understand Tamika's point. So you were with Brother Al and y'all wasn't married. So did he have permission to go out and date other women even though y'all was committed? Because that don't sound right.
She's 19.
I understand that. I'm just going by Tamika's point, Miss.
That's what she said. That's what she said. Tamika said she was 19.
The age, okay. So if you're committed by age, is what you're saying?
Why are you committed at 19?
You can get mad if you want to. I have a question. You can get mad. I have a question.
So you told your daughter at 19 to commit herself?
No, I didn't tell her that. But if she's telling him that she's committed to him,
do you know that? Do you know that's what she said?
No, none of us know that. That's why I'm asking the questions. You know what? I'm like, Al, be careful how you talk to me today. Today. Yeah,
you go ahead, Tamika. You answer.
But that's what I'm saying. When you're 19, you literally are picking and choosing. You're trying to see what you like. You don't put yourself at 19. That's a disaster. You know, you know what kind of foolishness you can experience.
Wait, hold on, Tamika. Hold on. He asked the question, you answer it, and he put you on Avatar.
I'm in movement. Thank you.
I know that.
I'm trying to respect the house. It takes me a while to get out the car.
But you know what,
I'm on Kane, you know.
but you know what, Pastor Steph? The sad thing about it is from working with these kids, these young girls out there sleeping with these guys like they got consent. And that's another thing.
I can't hear you because Pastor KL is being so rude right now.
Yeah, he muted. I said the big problem with this is, from being around these kids are out there, these young girls are out there sleeping with these guys like nobody business. And I'm talking about from what I'm experiencing in school, like 12. The youngest I've seen is 12 out there just sleeping with these. And I'm like, yo, what is wrong with you? And I got a young girl at my school now. She talks to me all the time. She just turned 17. and she slept with it. I'm like, yo, we talked about this. I said, when are you gonna learn? I said, let me ask you. I said, how long you known this guy? And this guy she was talking to is 23. I said, how long you known this guy? She's like, oh, a week. I said, what is wrong with you?
Oh my gosh.
And she told me she met this guy on the app. That's why I was listening closely when you said about the app. I said, whoa, let me make sure this ain't her. You know, and they out there doing this, man.
Oh my goodness.
Thursday is crazy.
Wow. I stopped you from talking to Mika. But that wasn't permanent. You can continue.
No, I was just saying at 19, this is the time when you should be looking to see what you're interested in, what
Right.
what you like in a person, what you don't like. And that doesn't mean, sleeping with everybody, what type of personality do you like? Do you like someone who's humorous? Do you like someone who's laid back? Are you a talker? Do you like someone who's a little bit more refined and doesn't talk as much? What is it that you enjoy? And that is the sad part, is that they're experiencing way too early with sex, and they don't even really know what that's about. What the feeling is about. You see something on TV, you see a porn thing, and you think that's what life is about. It's not. There's so much more to that. And because you saw something, it might have, twirled your little whistle. Now all of a sudden you think that's what life is about. What do you know? You don't know anything.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the scary part. Terrence says about the Tinder woman, she's just dumb for going on Tinder for that. Wait, maybe not, because he's on the other side of the fence. Never mind, nothing new. All right. And Terrence says, I agree with Pastor KL. I understand what you asking. I get it. You know what? I'm going to turn your mic off. I know. Turn your mic off, Terrence.
Yeah, my guy. Thank you, Terrence. We are waiting for it.
But all jokes aside, she's a kid, and you at 28, y'all make the joke, she put it on him and all of that kind of stuff, and people don't understand that connection, that attachment. Once you sleep with people, this is, I always tell people, a condom is one thing. Those demonic spirits that transfer and all that stuff is real. You don't know who you done been with and all of that stuff going on. That connection, the Bible tells us that. Don't you know that when you sleep with a prostitute, two become one? And it doesn't necessarily mean a prostitute if you're prostituting yourself. So people don't understand that connection that's being made when you're sleeping with these people. And now you all twisted. So you forget that she's a kid, and she's a kid. If she's now going backwards to someone who's 17, she's exploring. And like I said, I'm with Tamika. I'm not talking about exploring sexually. But at 19, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be, seeing people to see, what you like and what you don't like. But unfortunately, like you say, Brother Al, they're tying themselves down early in life. And now you all twisted. Nika says, so we're not going to mention the grown man after the young girl. That's why I keep saying he's 28. I agree. He should have. She's 19. You 28. You almost 10 years past her. What did you think? She's still a kid. What did you think was going to happen? So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But thank you for indulging me on our news. I got a little thing here today. Our topic, and we're talking about gaslighting. And some of the phrases that gaslighters use. And I wanted to see what the Due Time crew had to say about this. So for those of you, I'm gonna do a Shantice right now. I can explain what gaslighting is, but I'm going to get the official definition of gaslighting. So let's see. They say gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation where someone is made to doubt their own perception of reality, leading to confusion, self-doubt, and dependence on the perpetrator. So in other words, it's somebody who tries to make you think that the things that are really happening are not happening. They want to confuse you. They want to make you think that your thinking is off kilter, and they're the ones who understand and who think properly. And we're going to talk about that gaslighting today, just in case you're with a gaslighter, or just in case you are the gaslighter. Okay? Let's see what they say. That never happened. One of the phrases that they consistently use. Tamika, I'm gonna start with you. That never happened. That's the gaslighting phrase that's being used.
Oh, that's the top of all the gaslighters. You know, you in the process of, you know, I caught you cheating. You know, I saw you with her. You know, you know, blah blah blah, and you getting ready to try and, you know, advocate your point, and their response is, that never happened. You know, that's definitely not what you're expecting. Like, you know, do I have to put my finger on you? You know, they used to say back in the day, you didn't really catch the person cheating unless you put your finger on them, because, you know, they could easily say, that didn't happen. You know, another example, you know, Shaggy song, it wasn't me. Wait a minute, I'm looking at you on the back. It wasn't me. You know, that's another one. Same thing.
Yes. Brother Al, that never happened.
Well,
why should we be listening out for that?
Oh, most definitely. You know, I was listening to the definition of gaslighting, and that's just a fancy word for saying the devil, because that's what he does. You know,
I like
fancy word for the devil, because that's what he does right there. And that never happened. You know, I can sit there and say, nah, Pastor Steph, you never paid me. That never happened, Pastor Steph. I want my money. You never paid me. It never happened. And you know, you get people, and it's so funny because I remember.
That's truth. That's not gaslighting. That's truth.
I remember, you know, all jokes aside, I remember my son. My son had a problem with stealing from me. And I would sit there and I would do certain things, and he would sit there and he would go to the very end of time. Hey, Papa, I didn't take that. It's only me and you in here. Who took it? It wasn't me. I you know, it got to the point where you know, you don't want to think that your child will steal from you. I started doubting myself at a time, like, okay, you know what? Maybe I didn't put that money over there. I might have put that over here. So that's definitely, like Tamika said, the top of the chain. That didn't happen.
Yeah. And that's what they do, Brother Al. They make you question what you did. That didn't happen. And now you twist it because you're like, well, man, maybe it didn't happen. Pastor KL.
Yeah, my kids used to get me all the time. They used to tell me, well, you said if I get a good report card, you'll buy me a car. No, I didn't say that. I ain't say I'll buy you a car. I'll buy you a big wheel or something, but I ain't gonna buy you no car. But then they would team up and they would have to say, no, this is how it went. This is how the conversation went. I said this, you said that. And then of course the other sister said, yeah, you did say that, Dad. And I'm like, a car with gas? Nah, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No.
All right, let me go back a little bit. Serge has a comment. I was wondering why he was bent for a 19-year-old. What was so special to call that underage adult? Yeah, well, you know what? They always say, which I hate that expression, you can't help who you love. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You're too sensitive, Brother Al. That's another phrase that the gaslighters use.
Yeah. You know, because they want you to hear what they're saying and not be, you know, basically forget about your feeling or how you feel. You know, come on, that ain't nothing to get mad about. You too sensitive. All I said was that you was stupid. What you get so sensitive for? You know, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's what to get you to not care about how you feel.
Pastor KL, you're too sensitive. That's what the gaslighters are using.
Yeah, they minimize your feelings when they do stuff like that. Or you know, you say, "Hey, you look skinny today." So what? Did I look fat yesterday? You know, now you mad. You know, but yeah, it just a little bit of words. You know, they take it out of context, and a lot of times what they feeling is what they feeling. You know what I mean? It's honest to what they feeling, but you try to override. You shouldn't feel that way. You know what I mean? I'm trying to give you a compliment, but it's not really a compliment.
Absolutely. Tamika, you're too sensitive. Gaslighters.
So the whole purpose of you saying I'm too sensitive is to get rid of the emotion or the feeling that ignited that whole feeling. You know, so you're too sensitive. So now I'm supposed to abandon my rebuttal to whatever it is that I was going to say because you said I'm too sensitive. Not only that, it starts to make you think, well, maybe I am too sensitive. You start to abandon your own thoughts, your own feelings, and starting to no longer validate how you feel based on what this person said.
Right. Anika says, it's all about getting you to doubt yourself. Only what they say is true. Absolutely. It's a straight head game. Straight head game. What about you're crazy and other people think so too? Pastor KL, that's another one that gaslighters use.
Yeah, they are crazy. You know, but all you need is one person to agree with you. You know, all you need is one person to say that they're crazy, and then it automatically you confirm it. See, you crazy. You know, your own friend Sean think you crazy. You know, you crazy. You know, I'm not the only one that says it. If more than one person is saying it, we can't all be wrong and you right. So that's how you run with that.
Tamika, wow.
So
you're crazy.
Yep. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
So the whole idea of saying I'm crazy, you know, that will continue the conversation. You call me crazy, I'm automatically going to come back at you. You talking about my friends and other people, you know, because you're not just going to say other people. You're going to get somebody that's real close, my sister, my brother, my best friend. You know, I talked to such and such, and she said, I don't need you to validate. I don't need you to confirm that I'm crazy. I don't need you to talk to anybody. If you and I are having a disagreement and you say I'm crazy, that automatically responds a rebuttal from me. But when you start saying, oh, and your mama said you crazy too, then I'm starting to think, you know, it starts to cause me to, you know, kind of shrink back. Well, maybe I'm just overreacting about this one situation. Maybe I need to, you know, and so for some situations or for some people, it'll stop the conversation because now you're starting to think, well, let me talk to my best friend or whomever you said crazy to see if I can. That doesn't make any sense. Go ahead and finish your conversation. That will automatically stop the conversation and cause your brain to kind of trigger back. Well, maybe I need to call it. Maybe I am overreacting about this thing.
Yes. Al, I'm telling you, you crazy, and Tamika and KL think so too.
I don't care what none of y'all say. You hear what I said? You want to see crazy? I'll show you crazy.
Now you see why I don't go to work today. I got to deal with this all day.
I'll show you crazy. I'm crazy. I'll show you crazy.
Oh my goodness. What say you about this gaslighting thing?
I would say, yeah, it worked. You know, I'm listening as we're talking about it. And sometimes when people say that, it is true. Like I got some students in school and they telling me I'm doing my work in class. And I'm like, how you doing your work in class and you failing all your classes? All the teachers say the same thing. You in here talking and you don't do your work. No, I'm not talking. I'm doing my work. So it kind of work on both ends. because sometimes it is true, but then you do have people who will use that. Like they say, okay, you don't believe me, go ask John. John said he saw you. He saw you doing it, you know. And so it works both ways because you know, and like you said, it's a manipulation as well. Oh, you don't believe me? You think I'm just saying it? All right, go ask John, Sally, and Sue. They see the same thing. And so now when you validating that, and you're like, but dang, maybe I am a thief. You know, maybe I do have a problem with stealing. You know, I didn't take that, but maybe I do have a problem.
You know, let me ask you three. You know, we covered that never happened. You're too sensitive. You're crazy, and other people think so too. Have you ever experienced that? Just those three, contained to those three. Have you ever experienced that gaslighting?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, which one?
Well, some people say I'm crazy. They joking.
I'm joking. Leave that, my Tamika. I'm not joking. I've been knowing Al for over 20 years. He's crazy. And I'm telling you, other people think so too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I swear that I did experience you're too sensitive. You know, I had a girl I was dating one time, and she would just blurt out whatever. And I'm looking at her like, you serious right now? Oh, what you getting so mad for? You're so sensitive. You know, and I'm looking at her like, but did you hear what you just said? You know, so I experienced those two.
Okay. What about you, Tamika? Any of these three?
None of the three.
Oh, okay, good. What about you, Pastor KL? Oh, wait, I got a better question for you, Pastor KL. Were you the gaslighter?
He might be busy.
Okay.
You know,
yeah, gaslighting somebody.
You notice he's been silent ever since I got him.
Okay. All right. Forget Pastor KL. We going to, you have a terrible memory, Tamika. Another line that the gaslighters will use.
Yeah. And cause you start thinking, you say, well, you know, you were out with such and such. I know it because on April the 13th, I couldn't get in contact with you, you know, and they were telling me around this time, you such and such. Your memory, something's wrong with you. I was at such. I told you I went to the gas station, and then they'll give you a totally different place. You don't remember any of that, and then you start thinking, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't that day. Maybe it was a different time. And I mean, the sad part about it is they'll stand flat-footed, won't blink, and tell you, well, no, that's not right. That couldn't have been because remember that's when I went to get the gas. You didn't get gas that day, but in your brain, you start thinking, well, maybe you're right. Maybe on the 13th you did go get gas, and maybe it was the 12th that I couldn't. You start literally reconfiguring the whole thing in your brain because this person said, oh, nah, that wasn't that. Again, that didn't happen. We can stick those two together.
Yep, absolutely. You have a terrible memory, Brother Al. What are we saying? You know, the gaslighters love to use that one.
Yes, that's true. And I do have a confession that back in my day, I did use that.
Wow. Okay.
And it's funny, just a quick story, you know, when I used to buy DJ, when I, you know, getting the DJ and buying equipment. And I remember I used to always go on Canal Street because I know I can go to the different stores and haggle there. And I would go early because I know I'm gonna be down there for a while haggling. And I went in the store and this guy had it, the piece that I needed. He had this amp that I really wanted. So it was funny. I came up with a plan. So I walked in the store and the guy was down like, yo, what's up, bro? How you doing? And he was like, yeah, how you doing, bro? Is everything? I said, yeah, man. I said, yo, you remember me? You told me to come back for this because you gonna give it to me at this price. And he was like, I don't remember. I said, serious, bro? You the one told me to come. I came all the way from Brooklyn. You the one told me to come back. I said, come on, man. How you gonna forget me? And he was just sitting there and he was thinking like, I think I remember you. I said, yeah, remember I came in, I had the black jacket on, and we was looking, you showed it to me, and he was like, I'm not sure. I said, come on, man, that's why I came back. All these other stores, but I came to you. And then he was like, well, what price I told you? That told my price. He was like, that's kind of low. But I said, all right. I said, listen, bro, you don't keep your word. I'm going to go to another store. And I wound up getting it for that price. Now, back in the day.
In your former life?
In my former
life? Oh, okay. Because you got Tell 'em Al from Terrence. So that was before the confession of you gaslighting the guy in the store. Okay. And Terrence says, wow, I was told I was too nice. I was like, what? Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Pastor KL, we got the next one. You have a terrible memory. Now, were you the gaslighter? Were you telling some women you have a terrible memory?
Yeah. One good thing about Al, when he said quick stories, you had a long time to get your stuff together. You could come up with a whole novel on one of Al's quick stories. I just wrote a play. But yeah, God. Listen. So I would arrange dates and not show up, and I would tell you like, okay, I'm gonna meet you at Junior's, but when you at Junior's and you calling me, I told you Fridays. What you doing at Junior's? I told you Fridays. I've been sitting here at Fridays for 20 minutes. You know what? I'm leaving. We have to do this another time.
Oh my God. What? What? Oh my goodness gracious. And it would work. What would happen after that?
Oh no, she'd be a little mad, but we'll go out the next week when I really had money. You couldn't tell her you ain't had no money. You at the wrong place. And
oh my gosh.
At that time I wasn't driving, so I wasn't taking a cab all the way to Junior's at that point. I'm already at Friday.
My goodness. Oh my goodness.
Junior's waiting for you. You will not see me the next time.
Okay.
Listen, I'll see you at Seniors tomorrow.
Put you, Tamika. I know you told me Juniors. You gonna tell me you said Fridays?
You at the wrong restaurant.
No.
You at the wrong restaurant.
You wasn't listening.
Wow.
You wanted to go to Junior. That's what you wanted.
Wow.
Listen, it was a Friday. Why wouldn't I go to Fridays? It was a Friday.
GIF.
Oh my! How many people fell for this story?
Oh yeah, it worked a lot of times. I was poor for a while. I got paid every 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness! All right. Steph says, Brother Al, I hustled the hustler with gaslighting, and we went after I had money, left my butt off. Oh, Pastor Kale, you're crazy. Oh my goodness! Wow. All right, we got a couple more before we get Shantice on. I'm sorry you think that I hurt you. Oh, Tamika, I'm starting with you on that one. I'm sorry you think that I hurt you. Wow.
Now that's the lowest. That's the most disrespectful. I have a right to my feelings, and so it's not. I'm sorry that I hurt you. I'm sorry you think that I hurt you. So I'm like, did you just say? What did you just say? So you're not even really apologizing for what you did. Exactly. Right. Boom. You're not even apologizing for how you made me feel. You're not validating that I had an emotion, that I have a reason to feel that way. I'm sorry. You think that I hurt you. So that pretty much makes me feel like I gotta fix myself, because maybe what it is, maybe again, tying the other statement, maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe you know, I maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just, you know, because that's the first thing that automatically elicits is the emotion. Well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I need to get myself. So he or she will never really apologize. The only thing they're gonna say is, I'm sorry, you think that I hurt you, which doesn't really solve the problem. It makes you go into your own head again to deceive yourself. Whole idea, gaslighting. That's definitely a big one.
Wow. Shanti says, I received that one before. Then I had to apologize for my reaction. And that's what they go for, Tamika.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they go for. Wow. Brother Al, I'm sorry you think I hurt you. The line. That's the line.
Yeah, that's the line. But see, y'all thinking of it coming out in a harsh way, you know, because I've done that. That's a gaslighting. I've done that. But it's done in a sweet way to keep you going.
Of course it is.
Yeah, like I didn't do that to you. I mean, you really think I did that? Well, all I want is an apology, because you know what? If you think that I hurt you, I am so sorry. I'm sorry if you think that I hurt you. And boom, there it is. You see, Shantice went for it. Shantice said, after he said that to Shantice was like, you know what? Okay, I accept your apology. I'm sorry that I acted the way I did. I reacted wrong. I'm sorry. Thank you, Shantice, for
No, she doesn't mean it like that.
Yes,
Here's what happened. He said,
yes, she does. Yes.
He said, I'm sorry, whatever, you think I hurt you. And she went off on him and then had to apologize for her reaction. That's what
right. That's what I'm saying.
So, no, but you ain't saying it like that, Brother Al.
She apologized for her reaction. She went off and he played it. It happened.
You know what?
You got gaslighting.
And that's the sad part, because whether you responded like Shantice did, or you were the one that was like, oh, wow, you know what? I'm sorry. Either way, he got you. He got you.
Yeah.
Either way. Pastor KL, did you use this one?
Yeah, he used it.
Watch your mouth, Al. Watch your mouth. Yeah. I used it, but I used it with class. You know, you have to use it with class. Listen, so I'm sorry you feel that I hurt you, but think of how offended and how hurt I am because you would think that I would hurt you.
Oh,
Now I am destroyed. I see you in a whole different way because I care about you. And for you to think that I would deliberately hurt you, I'm offended. We can't be together no more. Meet me at Junior's tomorrow.
That's the okie doke.
Oh my gosh. Well, Shantice is clarifying. She said she had to apologize to Jesus.
KL, see how she tried to clean it up, KL? She tried to clean it up. No, you didn't.
No, wait. Knowing Shantice, she had to apologize to Jesus.
She apologized to Jesus later on when she got home.
Hey, Al. So some of these young women couldn't deal with us back in our prime, Doc.
Oh no, sir.
No, they couldn't deal with us in our prime.
Wait. I want to see what the men have got to say in this.
They talking.
It's me and not you. It's a good one too.
That's the one you use. Look, that's the one you use. That's the one you using when you want to break up. See, that's what Terrence just said. Nah, listen, you a good person. It's not you. It's me. All right, so I got to get myself together, and maybe we can get back together. It's not. I want you to
at this point, you're just too good for me right now, and I'm not ready for a woman like you. So I'm about to bow out gracefully. I'll see you at Fridays.
Wait, what did that say? I can't see. You know I'm blind on this side, Tamika. You gotta tell it to me.
What did it say? Help.
Girl, if you in trouble, don't have Stephanie nothing written, because you will be in trouble. What you say? Wait, what you say? Oh my goodness.
Call the cops. Pastor Steph will be like, what did they say? They said call the cops.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. So wait. Shark says that's light skin player word right there. Pastor KL was dangerous back in his former life. Shanti said, I would have caught a case a long time ago. Kenny said, you did hurt me. Kevin says, yes, Al, she meant it that way. Shanti said, I've heard that too. Oh my gosh. Wait. We got real quick. You should have known how I would react. Wow. God, Al, you should have known how I would react.
Yeah, you know how I get down. Why would you say that? You know I was going to go off. That's your fault that I'm mad right now, because you knew this. All right? You knew it. You know how I am.
Wow. Pastor KL, you should have known how I would have reacted.
You muted, KL. Unmute yourself.
I know you had to go to the bathroom, but I can't take a moment without you. You was in the bathroom for a long time. I don't know who you was.
See, that's why he got.
You knew how I was gonna act. You knew how I was gonna act.
Oh my goodness, Tamika, you should have known how I would react.
Yeah, that's definitely. You already getting played. You should have known how. Wait a minute. Then you start to walk on eggshells, trying to make sure that you're not causing any issues.
Right.
Because before you even do, you should have known that was going to cause such and such. You didn't know how I was going to act, and if you turn it around the other way, and it's the female, it's the clapping of the hands at that point. You didn't know that. It's the same thing. And it's either the clapping of the hands or the rolling of the neck. We can do it, ladies. So it's one or the other.
Wow. All right. Tamika, we get ready to go up out of here and get ready to turn this over to Shantice. What would you say to anybody who's being gaslit right now?
You have a right to react. Don't second guess. When the moment you start second guessing yourself, you cause yourself to end up walking in a circle that they want you to walk in. And it's if you don't get yourself out of it, then you become controlled. He doesn't want you to wear that, or she doesn't want you to do this. You have a mind of your own for a reason. You're not Siamese. Contrary to popular belief, although you may spend a lot of time, you're not Siamese. So you have a right to your emotions. You have a right to your feelings. Don't allow somebody to get in your mind and deceive you. The enemy's job is to kill, steal, and to destroy. And in all of those phrases that we have spoken about, that's exactly what he's doing. It's designed to kill your frame of thought, to steal your desire to be free, and to even function as an individual. And so don't be deceived by the enemy. Choose God and continue to walk in it.
All right. Brother Al, what would you say to the one that's being gaslit?
Okay, two quick things. Number one, keep in mind that gaslighting is a fancy word for the devil, the enemy. Don't second guess yourself. You know, if ain't nobody, only person know you better than you is God. So You know you. So if you know that you're not that way or you didn't do those things, then stick to that. Stand your ground with that. And you'll go forward. The second thing is I did see Ketty said you did hurt me. So I wanted to say to Ketty, you know, if you think that I hurt you, dear, I'm sorry. If you think that I hurt you.
Don't go for that lie either.
What? I'm so done with Al.
You done. I gotta live with him.
She said you did hurt me. I just wanted to clear it up.
Goodness gracious. Oh my
As a girl, make sure you cleared it up. Ketty said we heard it. Make sure you cleared it up too.
Pastor KL, what do you want to say to the gaslighter?
To the gaslighter?
Yeah.
That's kind of hard because I was a gaslighter. So I mean, I kind of like myself a lot.
Jeff now. You sound like Jeff. You sound like Jeff.
No, I would say, you know, the gaslighter is someone who's very insecure. You know, they don't want to admit it, but they're very insecure and they want to be in control, and they want to make you believe that you're the one in the wrong. You know, that's how you got to be careful as the person on the other side. If you keep finding yourself that everything is thrown back at you, you have a strong stance, but now you crumble down because he has weighed you down, then that's a problem right there. You know, we have to understand that there's not always great signs of the gaslighter, because he or she makes it believable. You know, he makes it believable that you are the issue, and how dare you think that it's me? You know, but when you find yourself keep being crumbled and keep being hit, then you need to wake up and say, hey, I can do better by myself. If this is how I feel, this is how I feel. If you can't see how I feel and respect how I feel, then it's time for you to go.
Wow. Good words, good pieces of advice from the Due Time crew. Thank you for your contribution to today's conversation. We pray you have a blessed day.
All right, you do the same.
Blessed day, everybody.
Thank you.
Pray for me.
I surely will, Tamika. I surely will. It's the top of the hour, and we only got one thing we do on Monday mornings at the top of the hour. Let's say good morning to Shantice.
Good morning, Pastor Steph. How are you?
I am well, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. All over here cracking up at these comments from the Due Time about this gaslighting.
Wow. What you got for us today?
Oh my goodness. Today we have the switch with Shantice, where we make the switch from the streets to our godly seat. And we are up to switch tip 218, which is stop setting yourself back. And when I think about setting myself back, I think about going back on everything I told God I would stop doing, everything I told God I would start doing, and how I only did it halfway. I only stopped halfway. I only started halfway. And God has really been on me a lot about being a woman of my word. This word commitment, I was challenged on that word last week as far as what are the proper steps in committing. You know, is it only verbal? Is it only action? Does one part matter more than the other? And about a year and a half, 2 years ago, God started challenging me with that. Like, stop thinking you don't have to make this verbal commitment to me, so that if you don't do it in your actions, it's like, oh, okay, well, God, you said let my yays be yays and my nays be nays. So if I ain't say it, then if I don't do it, you won't be as mad. But because God knows what he puts on our hearts to do and what he knows we are willing to do once he put it on our hearts, but because of whether it's laziness, procrastination, which goes hand in hand, fear or whatever, we just decide not to do it, that's a sin. So that's just as bad as if I was to verbally say, okay, God, I'm going to do this or not do it, and I then go back on my word. If he puts it on our hearts to do, and we try to get out of making that commitment in any way. We can't try to get over on God. Like the more time we spend with God, the more he's going to let us know about us, how conniving and manipulative we are, how we try to get over on him. And he's just one who we cannot get over on. So I said all that to say that that's just one of the ways we can set ourselves back. And it is very, very difficult to come back when you set yourself back, because think about all of the time you've wasted in setting yourself back. And how many of us want to now come back to the same level we were on before we set ourselves back? No, now we got to ask the Lord to help us bypass the level we were already on when we set ourselves back. So God gave me a couple of tips within this tip and things to look out for as to how we set ourselves back. So we set ourselves back by not taking the lifeline. Jeremiah 6:16 in the Message version reads, God's message yet again, go stand at the crossroads and look around. Ask for directions to the old road, the tried and true road. Then take it. Discover the right route for your souls. But they said, nothing doing. We aren't going that way. And this verse reminded me of times, and again, my congregation always teases me, especially Pastor Steph, when it's like, I'll ask a question and they're like, you just gave yourself the answer before you asked the question. So what does it say? Go back to that old road, the tried and true road. We were already on that road to success. Whatever success meant for you. Because we all have the same ultimate goal, but in our individual walks with Christ, our goals are set a little differently. Our immediate goals. We already had the answer. So now, yet again, God's message is go stand out there and let me redirect you to that road. But when we say no, thank you, I know a better road, I got this, we are not taking the lifeline, and that helps to set us all the way back. Because once upon a time, we would just be stagnant. Now, you're either going forward or you're being set back multiple steps. We set ourselves back by not putting Jesus first. Of course, Shantice, duh, that goes without saying, but how many times do we forget it? Luke 9:59-62 in the Amplified version reads, he said to another, follow me, accepting me as master and teacher. But he said, Lord, allow me to first go and bury my father. But he said to him, allow the spiritually dead to bury their own dead. But as for you, go and spread the news about the kingdom of God. Another also said, I will follow you, Lord, as your disciple. But first, let me say goodbye to those at my home. But Jesus said to him, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back to the things left behind is fit for the kingdom of God. How many of us, how many times does God put it on our hearts to start something? And I want to attest to this. I got all this energy and enthusiasm, and I'm excited. And then something has me look in my peripheral to what was behind me, even immediately behind me. We ain't talk about thinking years ago. It could have been 5 minutes ago, yesterday. And it's like, Jesus like, well, what happened? What happened to the attention? I had you here. How you get back over there? Set yourself back. He has you looking forward. There's a reason why he's either reminded you of something you need to be doing or have given you something new to do. Because this distraction thing, and Pastor Steph closes with it every day, is no joke. Look forward. Pay attention. Stop setting yourself back. What is the remedy when we set ourselves back? Isaiah 43:18-19 Amplified version reads, do not remember the former things or ponder the things of the past. Listen carefully. I am about to do a new thing. Now it will spring forth. Will you not be aware of it? I will even put a road in the wilderness, rivers in the desert. So even in all our chaos, God will still put that path that will redirect us out of our filth, out of our mess, out of our stupidity, out of our slowness. So let's make sure we're making the conscious decision of making the switch, of setting ourselves back, of looking backwards, to making sure we are pressing forward in the things ahead that God has given us to focus on, making sure we are putting Jesus first, making sure we are accepting his lifeline so that we do not continue to set ourselves back. Thank you, Pastor Steph.
Thank you, Shantice. Thank you. Thank you for that switch tip and your contribution into today's episode. We pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's get this benediction. May the Lord make you increase and abound in love for one another and for all, as we do for you, so that he may establish, your hearts blameless and holiness before our God and Father at the coming of our Lord Jesus with all his saints. 1 Thessalonians 3:12 and 13. We got a couple of gaslighting phrases that were thrown at us. Terrence says, you pushed the right buttons to make me act that way. Serge says, I only did it because I love you. You know, Shanti says, don't set yourself back. And that is huge for today. And when I say today, I don't mean just today. I mean today, the time today. How often do we set ourselves back? Two things, both sides of the fence. You know, I did ask the Due Time crew. I asked Tamika and Al to talk to the one who is being gaslit. I then asked Pastor KL to talk to the gaslighter. In both those instances, we set ourselves back. Because either we don't have that confidence in God, so we don't have that confidence in us, and we allow the gaslighter to do his job, to do her job. And they do it very well. You heard some, and these are just some, you know, Terrence and Serge threw in a couple of extras that we did not go over. And if we had more time, we could go down a litany of things that the gaslighter says, that we are so desperate, we are so caught up in being in a relationship that we allow ourselves to be gaslit. If we were to apply Jesus to our lives, then we would not be gaslit, because God would give us the confidence and understanding as to what he had said, not the gaslighter. When we are on the side of the gaslighter, we're setting ourselves behind. Why? Because we are accountable for every single life we help to destroy. I am so grateful that God has, given us a Due Time crew, including Stephanie, who have a former life that we are not afraid to talk about. That we have a former life that we are revealing to you. And it enables us to help you not to do the things that we did. And as people who are manipulative, we set ourselves back with God. If we don't think that we are manipulators and God is not going to deal with us accordingly, think again. So you set yourself behind in many different ways. And I'm going to give you a bigger reality. If God has set us behind and we still didn't get the message, guess who else is in the line of fire? Our children. And some of us look at our kids and we're trying to figure out, why they don't have this and why they don't have that and why they don't do this. Because unfortunately, God has got to get to the next level in order to get your attention. And it's real. It's called generational curses. Yes. So listen, don't set yourself back. It's huge to today's conversation. When we are so busy, caught up in a relationship, that we listen to everything, whether it's healthy harmful, hurtful, when we're listening to someone manipulate our lives, that makes us second guess ourselves, that makes us wonder if we really did do or say something, or if we're overreacting, or if we're just blowing things out of proportion, you better believe you are setting yourself behind. If we are so busy manipulating people because we're trying to get over and because we need to get these things or access these things, yes, we are really putting ourselves behind, because God is going to sock it to us. Make no mistake about it. And this is why every day as I close, I say to you, please, please take this time to make Jesus your personal savior. Now is the acceptable time. If you didn't do it at 6 o'clock this morning, you've heard what this can be like. You heard what this can turn into. Make sure you choose Jesus right now. Now, I even go a step further in my closing, because see, some of us believe that once we accept Jesus, we good. No, we're not good. And I can guarantee you that everybody on this a part of this due time crew can let you know, just because you've accepted Jesus as your personal savior does not stop there. You've got to strengthen that relationship with God, because we still fall for the okie doke at times. When we take our eye off the prize, when we take our eye off Jesus, we lose sight of what is really there for us. We lose sight of just the beauty of being in the Lord. So we've got to work towards strengthening that relationship with Christ. If you step away from Christ, you're going to be the one that loses. If you step away from God, you're going to be the one that loses sight on what he has for us. So this is why each day I say, make sure, if you haven't already done so, do so now. If you've already done so, you still got work to do. It doesn't end there, because God always has something for you. God is investing in us each and every day to make sure that we don't fall behind. If you fall behind, you can't blame nobody but yourself, because God has always got a plan for us, a plan to grow us, a plan for us to prosper, not a plan for us to fall behind. That's not the kind of God we serve. So make sure you do whatever it is you've got to do on a regular basis, not even every day, but moment by moment. Catch up with God. Make sure you're where he is. Don't fall behind, because as Brother Al said, this gaslighting, that ain't nothing but the enemy waiting to get in through any crack or crevice he can, to, as Tamika said, to kill, steal, and destroy. Make no mistake about it. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Thank you for helping us keep this chat room going. Please do not miss this opportunity to make Christ your personal savior right now. Please do not miss the opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where's Let's Talk About It Tuesday, Church Folk Day. Until then, I love you.